What if I told you that something so small, so overlooked, something you've seen your entire life, without question, is quietly shaping the way you move through this world? Not your full birth date, not your name. Just the last digit of your birth year. Sounds simple, almost meaningless. And yet, what you are about to hear may shift how you see yourself forever. Because the truth is this: we are always searching for signs, for meaning, for patterns that help us understand who we are. But most people look outside. They chase validation, approval, and identity in places that are constantly changing. And that is why they feel lost. But you are here now, which means you are ready to look deeper. If your number shows you are impulsive, then your path is discipline. Look closely at your life and you will begin to see it. The quick decisions, the sudden reactions, the moments where emotion moves faster than awareness. You speak before you fully understand. You act before you fully see. And afterward, there is often a quiet realization that things could have been different. This is not a weakness to hate. This is a signal to understand. Impulsiveness is energy. Raw, untamed energy. It means you are alive, responsive, and willing to move. But without discipline, that same energy becomes scattered. It pulls you in different directions, leaving you exhausted, confused, and sometimes filled with regret. And so the question is not how to remove this energy. The question is how to guide it. Discipline is not punishment. It is structure. It is the ability to pause between feeling and action. In that small pause, your entire life can change. When something triggers you, notice the first reaction rising inside. Do not follow it immediately. Stay with it, observe it, feel how strong it is. And then ask yourself, is this action necessary or is it just automatic? Most people never ask this question. They live in reaction. They become slaves to every emotion that appears. But you must become the observer first. At the beginning, it will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will resist. It will say, act now, speak now, respond now. But you must learn to sit in that discomfort without moving. This is your training. Think of it like holding a powerful force in your hands. If you squeeze too quickly, it escapes. If you throw it carelessly, it causes damage. But if you hold it with awareness, it becomes something useful. This is discipline. You start small, very small. When you feel the urge to check your phone, without reason, pause. When you feel the urge to interrupt someone, pause. When anger rises and asks you to react, pause. Each pause is a victory, not visible to the world, but deeply transformative within you. Over time, something begins to shift. The space between impulse and action becomes wider. And in that space, you begin to choose, not based on emotion, but based on intention. This is where your power grows, because a disciplined mind is not controlled by circumstances. It does not swing wildly with every situation. It remains steady, focused, clear. And suddenly, the same energy that once led you into chaos now becomes your strength. You act with precision. You move with clarity. You speak with purpose. Do you see the difference? The energy did not disappear, it transformed. This is why you must not reject your nature. You must refine it. Every moment of awareness builds your discipline. Every moment of restraint, your mind. And every conscious decision moves you closer to the person you are capable of becoming. So when you feel that impulsive urge, again, do not fear it. Do not follow it blindly. Simply notice it. Breathe and choose. That is your path. If your number shows you are hesitant, then your path is courage. You may recognize this pattern quietly shaping your life. The moments where you think too much before acting, the hesitation before speaking your truth, the opportunities that pass, not because you were unable, but because you were unsure. Hesitation often hides behind the illusion of safety. It tells you to wait, to prepare more, to be certain before you move. And on the surface, it feels wise, it feels careful. But if you observe deeply, you will see that it is often fear in a refined form. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. So you wait, and while you wait, life continues moving. Moments do not pause for your readiness. Chances do not return because you were almost ready. And slowly, hesitation begins to shape your reality. Not through what you do, but through what you avoid. But understand this clearly, courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the decision to move despite it. This is where your path begins. You do not need to become fearless. That is not the goal. The goal is to build a relationship with fear where it no longer controls your actions, where it becomes something you can walk with, not something you must escape from. Start by noticing your hesitating on, not judging it, not suppressing it, just seeing it clearly. When you feel that familiar pause, that internal voice asking you to hold back, bring your awareness to it. Ask yourself, what am I actually afraid of in this moment? Be honest. You will often find that the fear is not as solid as it appears. It is imagined, projected into a future that has not happened, a story created by the mind to keep you within the known. But growth does not exist in the known. Growth lives in uncertainty. So you must take small steps into that space, not dramatic leaps, not reckless actions, just small, intentional movements beyond your comfort. Speak when you would normally stay silent. Try when you would normally avoid. Step forward when your instinct is to step back. Each of these actions may feel uncomfortable. Your heart may race. Your mind may question everything. But this is exactly where transformation begins, because every time you act despite hesitation, you send a message to yourself, a message that says, I am capable. I can move even when I feel uncertain. And slowly, this becomes your new foundation. Confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you build through repeated action, through choosing courage again and again, even when it feels unnatural. Heck, there will be moments where you still hesitate. This does not mean you have failed. It means you are human. What matters is not perfection, but direction. Return to the path. Remember that hesitation is not your identity. It is simply a habit of the mind. And like any habit, it can be reshaped through awareness and practice. Over time, something begins to change within you. The fear becomes quieter. The hesitation becomes shorter. And your actions become stronger. You begin to trust yourself. And this trust, this quiet inner certainty becomes more powerful than any external approval can. So when the next moment comes, when you feel that familiar pull to hold back, do not wait for the fear to disappear. Step forward with it. That is your path. Okay. If your number shows you seek control, then your path is surrender. Look carefully at how you move through your life. The need to plan everything, the desire to predict outcomes, the discomfort that arises when things do not go the way you expected. You try to hold everything together, to shape every situation, to manage every result. And when something slips out of your hands, there is tension. This need for control often comes from a deeper place, a place that wants safety, certainty, stability. You believe that if you can control everything around you, then nothing will hurt you, nothing will surprise you, nothing will go wrong. But life does not work this way. No matter how tightly you hold, life continues to move. People change. Situations shift. Outcomes unfold in ways you cannot fully predict. And the more you try to control everything, the more exhausted you become because you are trying to hold something that is not meant to be held. Understand this clearly. Control is limited, but your awareness is not. Surrender does not mean giving up. It does not mean becoming passive or careless. It means releasing the illusion that you must control everything in order to be at peace. There is a difference. When you're attached to control, your mind is always tense, always calculating, always trying to force reality into a specific shape. But when you begin to surrender, something softens within you. Okay, you still act, you still make decisions, but you are no longer fighting against what you cannot change. Okay? This is where freedom begins. Start by noticing where you are holding too tightly. It may be in relationships, where you expect people to behave in a certain way. It may be in your plans, where any deviation creates frustration. It may be in your expectations, where you have already decided how things should unfold. Observe this without judgment. Then ask yourself, what am I actually trying to control here? And more importantly, is it truly within my control? Okay, you will begin to see that many things are not, and yet you have been carrying the weight of them as if they were your responsibility. This is unnecessary suffering. Surrender is the practice of letting go of that weight, not all at once, but gradually, consciously. Okay. When something does not go as planned, pause. Instead of reacting with frustration, take a breath. Accept the reality of the moment as it is, not as you wanted it to be. This acceptance is not weakness, it is clarity. From this place, your actions become more effective. Because you are no longer clouded by resistance, you see the situation clearly, and you respond accordingly. And this is true strength. There will be moments where surrender feels uncomfortable. Your mind will tell you that you are losing control, that things will fall apart. But this is just the habit speaking, the conditioned need to hold on, stay present. Trust that you can handle what comes, even if it is different from what you expect. Ted, over time, you will notice a shift. The tension begins to fade. The constant need to manage everything begins to loosen, and in its place, there is a quiet confidence, a trust in the flow of life. You begin to understand that not everything needs to be controlled to be meaningful. Not everything needs to be planned to be successful. Some things need to be experienced as they are. And in that experience, you find a deeper sense of peace. So continue to act with intention. Continue to give your best effort, but release the need to control every outcome. Let life move. That is your path. If your number shows you avoid risk, then your path is trust. Okay? Look at the choices you make when uncertainty appears. The moments where something new calls you forward, but you step back, not because you do not want it, but because you cannot guarantee the outcome. You measure the possibilities, you calculate the risks, and in the end, you choose what feels safe. And slowly, without realizing it, your world becomes smaller. Avoiding risk is not always obvious. It hides behind logic. It sounds like responsibility. It feels like maturity. You tell yourself that you are being careful, that you are protecting what you have. But if you observe deeply, you will see that this pattern is often rooted in a lack of trust. Not just in the world, but in yourself. Trust is not the belief that nothing will go wrong. It is the understanding that even if something does go wrong, you will find a way through it. This is what you must build, because life does not reward only the safest path. It responds to those who are willing to step into the unknown with awareness. Growth does not come from repeating what is familiar. It comes from entering spaces where you do not yet feel fully comfortable, but your mind resists this. It shows you worst-case scenarios. It reminds you of past failures. It creates stories of what could go wrong, and it presents them as truth. And without questioning, you believe them. So you stay where you are, but ask yourself honestly, what has this safety given you? Has it brought you fulfillment or just temporary comfort? Has it expanded your life or quietly limited it? There is a difference between being safe and being alive. To trust does not mean to act blindly. It means to act with awareness while accepting that uncertainty is part of the process. You do your preparation. You consider your steps. But at some point you must move, and this movement is where trust begins. Start with small risks, not extreme, not reckless, just slightly beyond what feels comfortable. Speak an idea you usually keep to yourself. Take an opportunity you feel unsure about. Try something where the outcome is not guaranteed. As you take these steps, notice what happens inside you. The fear may still be there. The doubt may still whisper. But alongside it, something else begins to grow. A quiet strength, because each time you step into uncertainty and remain standing, your trust deepens. Not in the situation, but in your ability to face it. This is the key. You are not trusting that everything will go your way. You are trusting that you can adapt, learn, and continue. No matter what happens, over time this changes how you see risk. It is no longer something to avoid at all costs. It becomes something to understand, something to engage with consciously. You begin to see opportunities where you once saw danger. You begin to move forward where you once hesitated, and your life begins to expand in ways that were not possible before. There will still be moments of uncertainty. This does not disappear, but your relationship with it changes. You no longer freeze in its presence. You walk through it. This is trust. It is built through experience, not theory, through action, not overthinking, through stepping forward again and again, even when the outcome is unclear. So when the next opportunity appears and you feel that familiar pull to stay safe, pause, listen carefully, and then take the step anyway. That is your path. If your number shows you are emotional, then your path is balance. You feel deeply, more than most people around you. A simple word can stay with you for hours. A moment can echo in your mind long after it is past. You connect quickly, you care sincerely, and when something touches your heart, it moves through your entire being. This is not something to reject. Emotion is not weakness, it is sensitivity. It is awareness of the inner world. It allows you to experience life with depth, with color, with meaning. But when emotion is not balanced, it can begin to control you instead of guide you. You may notice this in certain moments. When your mood shifts quickly based on external events. When someone's opinion changes how you see yourself. When you react strongly and only later realize that the situation did not require such intensity. In these moments, emotion is leading and awareness is following. Balance means reversing T. It means allowing emotion to exist, but not allowing it to decide everything for you. This begins with observation. When a strong feeling arises, do not immediately act on it. Do not suppress it either. Simply sit with it. Feel it fully, but stay present. Notice where it lives in your body. Notice how it changes over time. You will begin to see something important. Emotion is not permanent. It rises, it peaks, and it fades. But when you attach to it, when you build stories around it, when you react without awareness, you extend its life. You give it more power than it naturally has. So your practice is simple, but not easy. Feel, but do not become. Allow the emotion to move through you without letting it define your actions completely. For example, when anger arises, recognize it. Feel the heat, the tension, but do not speak immediately. Give yourself space. Let the intensity settle before you respond. When sadness comes, do not resist it. Sit with it, understand it, but do not let it convince you that everything is hopeless. When excitement appears, enjoy it, but do not let it push you into decisions without clarity. This is balance. It is the ability to experience fully while remaining grounded. To support this, you must create stability within yourself. Practices that bring you back to center. It can be as simple as conscious breathing, slowing down your breath when your emotions rise. It can be stepping away from a situation for a moment. It can be writing your thoughts instead of speaking them immediately. These small actions create space between feeling and reaction. And in that space, you regain control. Over time, you will notice a shift. Your emotions will still be strong, but they will no longer overwhelm you. You will begin to understand them instead of being driven by them. This understanding brings clarity. You start to respond instead of react. You start to choose your words, your actions, your direction, even in emotionally charged moments, and something else begins to happen. Your sensitivity, once a source of instability, becomes a strength. You become more empathetic, more aware of others, more connected, but without losing yourself in the process. This is the true purpose of balance, not to reduce your emotions, but to harmonize them with your awareness. And so when the next wave of feeling rises within you, do not fear it and do not follow it blindly. Stay present, breathe, and remain centered. That is your path. If your number shows you are detached, then your path is connection. You may move through life with a certain distance, not always visible to others, but deeply present within you. You observe more than you express. You think more than you feel, and even in moments that should be meaningful. There is a quiet separation, as if you are there, but not fully there. This detachment can feel like strength. You do not get easily overwhelmed. You remain calm when others are emotional. You protect yourself from unnecessary pain. And in a world that often feels chaotic, this distance can seem like control. But look deeper. Sometimes what feels like control is actually avoidance. Avoidance of vulnerability. Avoidance of being seen fully. Avoidance of opening yourself to experiences that cannot be predicted or managed. Because when you truly connect, you risk something. You risk being understood, but also misunderstood. You risk feeling joy, but also disappointment. You risk forming bonds that can bring meaning, but also loss. So instead you stay slightly removed, not completely closed, but not completely open either. And over time, this creates a quiet emptiness, because human experience is not meant to be lived at a distance. It is meant to be felt, shared, and engaged with, not just observed. Connection is not weakness. It is participation in life. Your path is to move gently from observation into experience. And not by forcing yourself into extremes, but by allowing yourself to open step by step. Start by becoming aware of your patterns. Notice when you pull back in conversations. Notice when you choose silence, not because it is wise, but because it is safe. Notice when you avoid expressing how you truly feel. This awareness is the beginning. Then begin to take small steps toward connection. Speak a little more than you usually would. Share a thought, even if it feels unfamiliar. Express appreciation, even if it feels unnecessary. Ask questions, not just to gather information, but to understand the person in front of you. These small actions begin to dissolve the distance. Connection also requires presence. When you are with someone, truly be there. Not thinking about what to say next, not analyzing every detail, just listening, just experiencing the moment as it is. This kind of presence is rare, and because it is rare, it is powerful. You will begin to notice that people respond differently to you. They feel seen, they feel heard, and in return, you begin to feel something why have been missing, a sense of belonging. But connection is not only external, it is also internal. You must reconnect with yourself, with your own emotions, your own thoughts, your own needs, not observing them from a distance, but allowing yourself to feel them honestly. When you ignore your inner world, detachment grows stronger. But when you sit with yourself, when you listen without judgment, a bridge begins to form between who you are and how you live. There will be discomfort in this process. Opening up always carries uncertainty. You may feel exposed. You may feel unfamiliar with your own depth. But stay with it, because on the other side of this discomfort, there is warmth, there is meaning. There is a sense of being fully alive, not just existing. You do not need to lose your calm nature. You do not need to become overly expressive. You only need to allow yourself to participate more fully in the human experience, to let people in, and to step into moments instead of standing outside them. Over time, the distance begins to fade, and in its place there is connection, not forced, not overwhelming, just real. So when you feel that Privichne pull to withdraw, pause, stay present, open slightly, and step closer. That is your path. If your number shows you are comfortable, then your path is growth. Comfort is subtle. It does not announce itself as a problem. It feels peaceful, stable, familiar. You wake up, follow your routine, stay within what you know, and at first, everything seems fine. There is no pressure, no urgency, no obvious struggle, and this is exactly why it is dangerous. Because comfort, when left unchecked, slowly turns into stagnation. You begin to repeat the same patterns, think the same thoughts, make the same choices. Days blend into each other. Weeks pass, Time moves forward, but you do not, and the most difficult part is this. You may not even notice it at first. There is no immediate pain to warn you, no clear signal telling you that something is wrong, just a quiet feeling deep inside that something is missing. Something is not expanding. Something is not alive. This is the moment you must pay attention. Sanki, growth does not come from staying where things are easy. It comes from stepping into spaces where you are challenged, where you are tested, where you are required to become more than you currently are. But your mind resists this. It tells you that what you have is enough, that there is no need to push further, that discomfort should be avoided. And slowly, you begin to believe it. So you choose what is familiar over what is possible, but understand this clearly. Comfort is not the goal. It is a temporary state, not a destination. If you stay there too long, it begins to weaken you. Your discipline fades, your curiosity decreases, your courage becomes smaller. And without realizing it, you start to settle for less than what you are capable of becoming. This is not your path. Your path is growth. Growth requires movement. It requires friction. It requires you to step beyond what feels easy and enter what feels uncertain. This does not mean you must make extreme changes overnight. It means you must begin to challenge your comfort consistently. Look at your daily life. Where have things become too easy? Where are you no longer pushing yourself? Where have you stopped learning, improving, or expanding? Be honest. These are the areas where your growth is waiting. Start with small shifts. Wake up a little earlier to create space for development. Learn something new, even when it feels difficult. Take on responsibilities that stretch your abilities. Put yourself in situations where you are not the most comfortable person in the room. Each of these actions disrupts your comfort and invites growth. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will resist. It will try to pull you back into what is easy. This is natural, but you must stay consistent. Because growth is not a single action, it is a continuous process, a daily decision to move forward, even when it feels challenging. Over time, something begins to change within you. The things that once felt difficult become manageable, the discomfort becomes familiar, and your capacity begins to expand. You become stronger, more capable, more aware of your own potential, and then something interesting happens. Your definition of comfort changes. It is no longer found in staying the same. It is found in progressing, in evolving, in becoming better than you were yesterday. This is true comfort, not the comfort of stagnation, but the comfort of knowing that you are growing. So do not be satisfied with what is easy. Do not remain where you are simply because it feels safe. Challenge yourself, move forward, step into discomfort with awareness. Because everything you are capable of becoming exists beyond your current comfort. That is your path. Now you see, it was never about a number. It was never about a digit quietly sitting at the end of your birth year, defining your fate or deciding your future. It was always about awareness, about seeing yourself clearly without illusion, without excuses. Each tendency you discovered is not a limitation. It is an invitation, a direction, a path that asks you to rise above your habits and step into your potential. Some of you must learn discipline. Some of you must choose courage. Some of you must surrender. Some of you must trust. Some of you must find balance. Some of you must create connection. And some of you must leave comfort behind. Different paths, but the same destination, growth. Remember this. Nothing changes unless you change, not your circumstances, not your results, not your life. Insight alone is not enough. You must take what you have understood and apply it again and again in your daily actions. Be patient with yourself, but do not be careless. Be kind to yourself, but do not stay weak. There is a difference. Every day is an opportunity. Every moment is a chance to step closer to the person you are capable of becoming. Not perfect, but aware. Not finished, but evolving. So walk your path with intention. Stay present. Stay disciplined. And when you fall, rise again without hesitation. This is your journey. I wish you strength in your challenges, clarity in your decisions, and peace in your growth. Good luck. And thank you